Now, what are the two most serviceable parts you would have in your system, especially laptops? I am recording this video in 2023, and I know that a laptop or a desktop produced in 2017 sounds like ancient of days. But the truth about it is, if you have a decent Core i5, Core i7, most likely your system still performs very well if you do basic tasks like surfing the web, using Word documents, and all that basic stuff. You really don't need to change your system if it's still performing the functions. If however you feel you need something, much recent, you've been using your laptop for too long and all, that's fine. But this video is for those that just need to maintain their system but make it a little bit faster. Now, some of the systems created in that time still have technologies like the HDD, which we still use very much up till now, but a whole lot of people have moved from using HDD to SSD. Now the question is, what is HDD and what is SSD? They are both hard drives, but the simple difference is one is way faster and the other one is way slower, obviously. The HDD is hard disk drive, the typical drive we all know. It has moving parts inside, and at some point, new generation stuff, we had the SSD, which is a solid state drive. It consumes less power, it has no moving part, and it's mostly safer in terms of dropping. The HDD, if it's dropped, it could get damaged. The SSD still stays alive much longer than the HDD. And of course, the SSD cost more money. So systems within a certain time didn't come with SSD unless, of course, you were paying some good amount of money for that system. So if your system still has a HDD inside, as especially its boot up drive, you might want to consider changing it into an SSD. The SSD would make your battery last much longer if you make use of a laptop, and it will make your boot time, both on the laptop and the desktop, it will make your boot time much more faster. Your copy or your transfer time basically is also, tripled, I guess. The second serviceable part in a laptop that you would like to change is the RAM. Now, the RAM is basically how much space your system has to be able to dump things and pull things from when your system is working. If you have as low as 4 gig RAM, your system might struggle with a lot of things. And in more recent times, or in more recent years, let's just say in the last 2, 3 years or 4 years, I have completely noticed that most computers relate very well and perform very well with 8 gigs of RAM, which I feel should be the basis. I mean, kind of the least you should have in any system you want to purchase. I would advise you buying 16 gigs, but 8 gig oftentimes does the magic. If you can, increase it or go beyond that. So if you have 4 gigs of RAM, your system is going to struggle with a lot of things. If you have 8 gigs of RAM, you're going to get by doing, lots also, unless of course you are dealing with media and other resource consuming stuff within your system. But the truth about it is, if you also find out that 8 gig is also not functioning very well, if you have an SSD and you increase the RAM in your system, in most cases your laptop should become much more better also. Now, don't forget, I did say this is for people that are regular users, surfing the web, checking emails, handling Word documents and stuff. This also falls in the category of those doing heavy stuff like graphics, 3D video editing, and whatnot. But for them, they may also want to consider having a system with a graphics card, which the regular user does not need at all. Now, I hope you found this useful. Don't forget, if you need to upgrade your system, upgrade your system. You don't always have to buy a new system if your system works perfectly okay and it's still fine, right? If it's not damaged, if it's not spoiled, why change it? Please don't forget to subscribe, and see you later.